Welcome to the session on vectors. In this unit, we will be looking at key concepts through review exercises. The objectives for this session are to review previous topics through exercises, namely, using trigonometry to find missing sides or angles, sketching trigonometric graphs and solving related problems, solving linear equations, and solving quadratic equations. Pause the video and have a go at these review exercises. When you are ready to view the next set of exercises, press play. Pause the video and have a go at these review exercises. When you are ready to view the solutions, press play. Before we look at the first exercise, let's tackle ratios. Ratios are used to compare quantities and are usually written with a colon separating both sides. So, for example, if there are 8 boys and 5 girls in a class, then the ratio of boys to girls is 8 to 5, and the ratio of girls to boys is 5 to 8. A ratio of 4 to 8 can be simplified as 4 divides both numbers. So the ratio 4 to 8 is equivalent to 1 to 2. Let's take a look at review exercise 1. The point C divides the line AB in the ratio AC to CB equals 11 to 4. We are required to find the fractions given on your screen. Let's find AB over AC for review exercise 1A. AC to CB is divided 11 to 4. So AB is the complete length. In other words, 11 plus 4. I'm using the word length with some caution because we're working with ratios. And AC, or the length in inverted commas of AC, is equal to 11. So AB over AC is equal to 15 over 11. And now for AB over CB. So AB is equal to 11 plus 4, and CB is equal to 4. So AB over CB is 15 over 4. And finally AC over CB. This is equal to 11 over 4. Now let's take a look at translating shapes. In figure 2, shape X is mapped onto shape Y by a translation. All the points of X move in the same direction and the same distance. So the shape X moves in the X direction by 2 units, and then moves in the Y direction by 5 units. This is a translation by 2, 5 as a vector. So for a translation, the sides and angles of the shape do not change, and the shape does not turn. Now let's take a look at review exercise 2. In figure 1, write the column vector for the translation of the given shapes. So A to B, A to C, and A to D. Let's solve review exercise 2A first. Find the column vector for the translation of shape A to B. Here are the two shapes. So A has to move in the direction -4 in the x direction and +5 in the y direction. So the translation as a vector is -4, 5. Let's now have a go at exercise 2b. We are required to find the column vector for the translation of shape A to C. So A has to move 4 units in the x direction and then 3 units in the y direction. This is a translation by 4, 3 as a vector. And now for review exercise 2c. Find the column vector for the translation of shape A to shape D. So A has to move -5 units in the x direction and -2 units in the y direction. This is a translation by -5, -2. Now let's recall the cosine rule. To find an angle given all three sides, we use the formula cos A equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. This can be rearranged to find a missing side, given two sides and the angle in between. And we use the formula a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. And of course we're using the diagram at the bottom of your screen as a reference. Review exercise 3A asks us to find the size of the missing angle in the diagram shown on your screen. Because we're finding a missing angle, we use the first formula as highlighted. So let's solve this. So cos A equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. Let's plug in the values from our diagram. So side B is equal to 4 centimeters, and we plug that in. Side C is equal to 8 centimeters, and we plug that in also. And side A is equal to 10 centimeters, and that's also plugged in as shown into the formula. This will give us the value for cos A. And so plugging in the values in your calculator should give you minus 0.3125. And then inverse cos that on your calculator to give A equals 108 degrees. The sine rule can be used to find the length of a missing side. The formula is A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C in the diagram shown. If we wish to find the length of a missing angle, it's more convenient to use the formula upside down, so to speak. Sine A over A equals sine B over B equals sine C over C. Let's now have a go at review exercise 3b. We are required to find the size of angle CAB. Let's label the sides first. So little a is opposite capital A, the angle, and little b is opposite capital B, the angle 60 degrees, and little c is opposite the angle capital C. Now, since we're required to find a missing angle, we will use the highlighted formula. So let's solve this. We're going to use sine A over A equals sine B over B and input the given values. Now, since we're required to find a missing angle, we are going to use the formula in the way highlighted. So let's solve this. We're going to use sine A over A equals sine B over B and plug in the values that are given in our diagram. So little a equals 1.4 centimeters, little b equals 7.4 centimeters, and the angle capital B equals 60 degrees. And so rearranging gives us sine A equals 1.4 times sine 60 over 7.4, as shown. And if we calculate this on our calculator, it should give us 0.16384. And finally, if we inverse sine, we obtain that angle CAB equals 9.4 degrees. We are going to use the cosine rule to help us tackle review exercise 4. This review exercise asks us to find the length of the missing side in the given diagram. So clearly we have two side lengths and the angle in between. Therefore, we are going to use the formula that's been highlighted on your screen. Let's solve this. We simply need to plug in the given values into our formula. So here's our formula, or the cosine rule. We've plugged in b equals 6.5, c equals 8.4, and capital A equals 20 degrees. And then we tidy up and calculate. To give us a equals the square root of 10.19585, which is equal to 3.2 centimeters to 1 decimal place. This brings us to the end of this session. If you have understood its contents, you should be able to use trigonometry to find missing sides or angles, sketch trigonometric graphs and solve related problems, solve linear equations, and solve quadratic equations. Thank you very much for listening.